Just wanted to show sort of the progression here, so people would know the history. Uh, One interesting thing about my last three in-game time barrier breaks is that 28 was old route, which is KPDR. The 27 was PRKD, and I picked up extra missile pack, the 2010, because I was low on missiles going to wave beam. Uh, and 26 was the hybrid route, PKDR. So I think it's kind of interesting that all three of those runs used a different route. And as you see, like the difference in time has been more than 10 years since the 28 was broken, or that was, achieved. And the last thing I want to note is that, or two more things I want to note, is that the 27 and 26 were barely, like I barely got those before somebody else did, or I almost didn't get them. The 27 Behemoth was very close to getting. Behemoth doesn't do X Factors, or it didn't do X Factors. He does now, but he didn't do X Factors on Ridley in his runs. So he had to get a bit of a lower time to get a 27. Although his first 27 had like an extra door transition. That's why he was able to get it with the 4115. I think he missed Lava Dive or something. Maybe he had just an extra pause for Lava Dive or something like that. And the 26, Zinni almost got the 26 with RTA stretch, which is insane with his latest world record. So, yeah, I barely got these two records like I did, but I guess that's kind of not too weird in life things to barely happen, you know. And the last thing I want to note is that this Hodorubi 32 at the bottom was the run that got me into Super Metroid speedrunning. That's all I wanted to note about these. I'll start the run now. So the difference between in-game time and RTA and Super Metroid. Lead. The difference between IGT and RTA and Super Metroid is that the in-game timer does not. The way I think they meant the in-game timer to work is that when you are not controlling Samus actively, then it wouldn't count down on the game timer or count up on the game timer. So I know people in Twitch here probably have heard me say this a million times now, but we'll be uploading this to YouTube, so I'm going to go ahead and go through it again. Pauses don't count against your in-game time. When you're in the pause screen, the fade out and the fade in, I think do count, but when you're actually in the pause menu, it doesn't count against you. Lag does not count against your in-game time. Door transitions don't count against your in-game time, including, we usually try to fix the doors to where they don't scroll before they actually go across the screen. But you don't have to worry about it at all in in-game time runs, which leads to a lot of different room strats. And the fact that doors don't count against you changes the route completely. It allows you to get plasma and it be worth it. Actually faster to get plasma because the doors on the way to plasma and out of plasma don't count against you. And also, what am I missing? Doors, lag, pause, item fanfares don't count against you. So you can pick up a few extra missile packs, which I do in the 26. And it still counts against you because normally there's a little bit of movement to go to a missile pack, even if the item fanfare doesn't count against you, but it's much more efficient in in-game time to pick up extra missiles because of the item fanfare not counting. There's a few technical things that don't count against you, like refill stations don't count against you. Even though we won't be doing a refill station in any of these runs, really. Yeah, there may be a few other little things, like the elevators. Parts of the elevators don't count against you. In RTA, sometimes you want to pause on a down elevator because it activates the transition earlier. But it doesn't matter for in-game time at all. Like, it doesn't save any time for in-game time because you're already on. The game's already stopped counting the in-game time a little earlier than that transition activation. So those are the main differences. The reason, let's see, I wanted to do in-game time because it was just a different run. I enjoy doing different things with this game. instead of just running the same thing over and over again, which I kind of do anyway, but I love to do different categories and different things with this game, and in-game time was so cool because it felt like I was doing something that hadn't been done in like 10 years, except for Overfiend's run, and I included Overfiend's run because I want to give him big props for doing a in-game time optimized run in the modern era. Now Overfiend's run is a little older. It's definitely a few years older, so I wouldn't judge him against my runs, which are all newer. So keep that in mind. But yeah, it was really fun to do something different and optimize in a completely different way. But it still felt like a significant thing I was working towards, you know? There's a lot of like left field stuff you can do in Super Metroid. We got extension categories and all kinds of stuff like that. But the in-game time barrier in any percent felt like a really significant thing to try to go for. So I really enjoyed it. And again, Hodorubi's 32 got me into the game, so it was kind of a little bit of a throwback to the old school ways of running the game. Around sometime around it was a little bit before my time, but sometime around 2012, 2013, the speedrunning community started seeing the speedruns of this game a little differently. And part of it was the fact that racing became more prevalent in the advent of Speedruns Live, which was a racing website. So that and probably some other things, like the fact that in-game timer doesn't show you the seconds or anything lower than minutes, probably led to people doing real-time runs instead of in-game time runs. The second to last door I jump through in my runs, it's a little bit faster. You don't have to wait for the door to open. When you get down, you can jump through the center of the door as it's opening. Normally that would mess up the door because the door would, when you jump, it scrolls the door down, and then it had to scroll back up for it goes across the screen, which is not what you want in RTA, but in this run, again, you can ignore that. Another note I wanted to make is my capture. It looks a little differently on my top two screens and my bottom left screen. Zinni sent me a retro tink that I was playing on for the bottom left screen, and I changed Super Nintendo's as well, so the bottom left screen should have better color. Top two screens, you'll see a little bit of pink in the top, the white letters and numbers at the top when door transitions happen. So that's the difference between those captures there. But yeah, I want to again give a shout out to Overfiend for letting me use his run in this commentary. Show off like how he approached the run a little differently than me. I tried not to. Honestly, didn't look at his run much when I was coming up with strats, and it's not because I didn't trust like that he was good at optimizing or anything like that. I just wanted to enjoy coming up with my own strats and then deciding my own way of going through the game for in-game time. Yeah, shoutouts to Ove. Thank you for letting me use the run. Follow him on Twitch and all that good stuff. You'll notice on the bottom left, the actual 26 that I got, we'll be picking up an extra missile pack right here. That was a bit of a later addition to my routing run. My run routing. And the reason is, it's for Fantoon. Mainly. So I'm going for 1 rounds in my runs now. 1 round Fantoon, you need to have 15 missiles to Doppler. When you do the big Doppler, you open up with 2 missiles and then another 2 missiles. And then you do a huge 15 missile Doppler. Having that extra missile pack allows you to be a lot more consistent. Or it allows you to more consistently go for the Doppler. And if I get a very fast pattern, I could immediately go for the Doppler. And that's what you're going to see. I'm really happy that I got the pattern I did in the 26 because it shows off the power of that extra missile pack and the reason I picked it up. Yeah, I'll get into more of the fine details here. The problem with getting into too much, I wanted to cover like the big picture stuff first, because there's not a whole lot of differences between RTA and IGT early on. Obviously, that extra missile pack is a big difference, and that extra missile pack costs you 4 seconds in in-game time. It's kind of costly, but the benefits on Phantoon are pretty nice. And the Phantoon pattern that I do get in my 26 does save like 3 seconds over any other Phantoon execution-wise that you could get with just 15 max missiles. You couldn't execute Phantoon the way I do if you have 15 max. You just can't. Another big picture thing I wanted to get into, maybe the last thing that I've got, is that it's how I routed, how I figured out how I wanted to approach in-game time runs. I suspected that I wanted to do this hybrid route. First because Ove did it, and I suspected that he knew what he was doing. Second, because it's different from old route, it's different from new route, and I wanted to do something different, you know. Thought that'd be fun. But I did do save state runs of the entire hybrid route and the entire PRKD route with all the in-game time optimizations I could possibly think of. And hybrid route did come out to be about 10 to 15 seconds quicker in my save state runs. Now, there's going to be a margin of error doing a save state run like that, so I'm not entirely, I wouldn't take those figures as the word of God or anything like that, you know, like. And hybrid route, as far as my calculations came out, was pretty close to old route. Like, you could do old route and be pretty much just as well off as hybrid route. But I compared hybrid route and old route just by like doing segment comparisons, so maybe not as accurate, but they seem pretty close together as far as speed goes. I did miss a few in-game time strats, like coming out of the elevator, out of Red Tower. There's a few things that you wouldn't want to do in RTA, like the power bomb before you go to the moat. Wanted to reduce lag there, but I didn't. Yeah, these are organized. The top left is the fastest RTA, and then the bottom right is the slowest. Although they're not the newest, oldest. You can see I got a 1 round on top right and bottom left. Got a 2 round on top left. Now, one of the reasons I decided to organize the screens this way is that I honestly think my top left run here is the best run. It's got the slowest Phantoon kill time. So the rest of the run is honestly better than the other 2 runs of mine. So that's another reason I decided just to organize them this way. Fast, nice. But yeah, you'll see that run catch up. And the fact that my bottom left run is about as on pace as my top right run is pretty nice, because as you know, I lost 4 in-game time seconds earlier, and I've caught up to my top right run. Well, really, the bottom left run lost about 10 seconds RTA to the top right run, and then it caught up again. So yeah, it's on a blistering pace for the 26. I use supers, and Overfiend used supers in the attic. This is the attic, the top room of the wreck ship. For all of my runs except for the 26. I switched back over to regular missiles partly because I was picking up more missile packs, and conserving my regular missiles wasn't really an issue anymore. So I wanted to make sure I was totally good on supers. But before I picked up that extra missile pack, I was of the mind of Overfiend here to just super the attic to conserve my regular missiles. And the reason for that is that, unlike PRKD, we won't be going straight to... We will be going to Upper Norfair, but we won't be going from Upper Norfair down to Lower Norfair immediately. So our super missile count is not it's not as shaky here. Like we'll be going to Kraid before we go to either Meridia or Lower Norfair. And Kraid, you'll get that extra super missile refill from both Kraid and Mini Kraid. So that's the reason. I'm assuming that was Overfiend's thinking as well. Yeah, 25 is practically impossible. You can do a bowling skip here. It requires you to pick up a reserve tank, and it requires a frame perfect repause out of a pause menu, which there's no queue that I know of for that. And a frame perfect means 1 in 60th of a second input. And to make it worse, there's no queue, and to make it worse, I mean, it's almost impossible to mash the start button quickly. And even if you did mash the start button as quickly as possible, I think it would fail half the time. And the problem with that is you just die if you fail that repause. Because you have to jump into the bowling chorizo's hand at 0 energy. With 0 energy, and then you let the reserve trigger, you turn it back to auto and you let the reserve trigger, and then it drops you, and then but it still opens up the lane and you can jump down instead of waiting for it to carry you down. But yeah, it's pretty much a 75% chance, almost at best, that you're gonna die there. And but it would save about, I don't know, I think 18 seconds was what I came up with that it would save. So there's that. That's an improvement to this route. And you can also, having Plasma, you can also take a Shine Spark, a stored Shine Spark into Tourian, and do all of Tourian up to Mother Brain 2. The cutscene after Mother Brain 2, if you hold a Shine Spark, you can do stand-up glitch with 3 E-Tanks. And with Plasma, that becomes pretty powerful. You could probably do 2 cries as well, which is a manipulation to make the cutscene quicker. So yeah, you could probably save like 20 seconds on Mother Brain 2, but that's still only like 40 seconds. That's not even a full minute of improvement from those 2 strats. So you need to do those 2, which are very, very hard tricks. And very inconsistent tricks. You'd have to do both of those, and you'd have to have a 20-second better run than I do now. Unless there's new stuff. There could be new stuff that's found. But that's how hard 25 would be. It doesn't seem likely that it's going to happen in a long time. I thought about maybe trying to do a segmented 25, but I don't... That kind of sounds brutal to go for, honestly. I don't think I'm going to do that. I thought about it, but... Alright, I was trying to get into the more minutia details here that we've gone over. I probably missed a few things, but that's okay. It's going to heat up as far as the little differences here. One thing you're going to see a difference between Overfiend's run and my runs is that he's going to get ice out of Upper Norfair. There's other reasons why his RTA is that much slower and a 27. But one of them is that getting ice earlier leads to more pausing and unpausing, which is bad for RTA, but it does not really affect your in-game time. You're going to see some bad door transitions coming out of this bat cave on the top right and bottom left. That's one of the worst door transitions in this run. AKA one of the best ones. But yeah, that big scroll doesn't count against you, so you don't have to worry about it, really. And I should have picked up speed missiles on my top 2 runs. For some reason, I was thinking that when you go to 2510, it adds 2 extra supers of leniency to Tourian over 2010. For some reason, I was thinking if you went to 3010, it only added 1 super of leniency. So I was like, I won't get speed missiles. But it actually adds 2 more super missile capability. So you can finish the Metroid rooms with 2 less supers on top of the 2 less supers from 25 from 20. And still be able to break the glass on Mother Brain 1 and, advanced to Mother Brain 2. So I should have done that on my top 2 runs, I think. Now, going from 30 to 35 like I do on the 26 is not really as helpful. It only adds 1 extra super of leniency, but I kind of just decided that it was worth it anyway. And to make up for the 1 second of in-game time loss, the fact that I have that bridge missile in the beginning and the speed missiles, I just started skipping the bug farms coming out of Speed Booster. I didn't point that out when we were there, but skipping those speed bug farms saves 2 seconds the way I do it. And with those extra 2 missile packs, you don't really have to worry about farming there, and it's kind of nice not having to deal with that RNG. Honestly, is kind of nice because the speed bugs, it's an RNG point. They can give you supers. They can just give you 0 supers. You know, I mean, they can definitely shaft you. So yeah, we'll be going to Kraid now. I know some people would think that maybe Kraid would not be ideal to go this early to. You can do Kraid in this route after Meridia. You can even do it after Ridley, and you would think that would be good. You know, you could try to get your. Okay, I messed up that strat coming out of coming down that shaft. I wish I would have hit that strat on any of my runs, but I didn't. But yeah, you would think that getting those super farms might be better after Meridian before Lower Norfair, or even after Lower Norfair and before Tourian, to get your super counts back up at one of those points. But the reason I do Kraid's Lair now is that the biggest reason is that Kraid E-Tank is faster than Batu and E-Tank. Kraid E-Tank only costs 4 seconds in game time to get, because the doors don't count against you. Again, it's the doors. It's always the doors. Batu and E-Tank is slower in IGT, but faster in RTA because of the lack of doors. And also, it looks like I got pretty good powerbomb drops from Kraid in these runs, but if you don't get any powerbomb drops from Kraid, you're not going to have the powerbombs you need to do Meridia here. So you don't. I mean, it'd be kind of stinky to rely on Kraid for powerbomb drops. The bosses are a little bit notorious for not giving you what you need when you need it. So these guaranteed powerbomb drops from the B-Toms, these frog enemies, is really nice before Meridia. Yeah, the biggest reason is just that it's faster to get Kraid E-Tank than Batu and E-Tank. I mean, you could get Ridley E-Tank, but you don't want to. You need all this energy to do all the Meridia strats, like Full Halfy and Womple Spark, all that good stuff. But you'll see me doing a few different strats than you would see in RTA coming up here. Wall jumping into the doorway is bad. RTA, we normally would manipulate these snails. Well, the angle shot on this door is a little... Oh, I didn't do the angle shot there. I think I was low on supers. But this power bomb, you normally want to reduce lag here, but you don't have to worry about it in game time. Normally we would stay in a ball and move left to right, which manipulates the snails to not move, which lowers lag. This door entry is slow RTA, but like quarter of a second faster in-game time. Oh wow, I messed up Batu in one of the 4216s. Yeah, the top left run is catching up already. So we're just gonna fly back the E-Tank. Yeah, that's the reason. It's manipulating the snails off screen. It's a really cool strat. So yeah, Overfiend had to take off his ice beam already. Ove does some really cool ice beam strats later in Meridia that I'll have to try to point out. I hate crouch lock so much. This opening X Factor I'd do anyways in RTA, but it's a little laggy. It's another nice little benefit of doing in-game time. You don't have to worry about the lag on that. Call it rain dance, where you manipulate the particles around when Dragon's coming on the screen. Yeah, I had a little bit of a problem. I'm not sure what happened. Zinni said my spark looked a little low on the last spark, I think, on the 26 run. It's a little unfortunate. Yeah, thank you, Toasty. There's no audio. I'm not using an audio cue for the Dragon. It's you get into position, and when the my strat, when the well, I shouldn't call it my strat, even though I do it differently than other people. I didn't really come up with that. It's a variation on somebody else's strat, but the start of it is the same. Yeah, you wait till the little babies go off. Right when they go off screen, you start the charge. That's the difference. Yeah, so we're heading towards Plasma. Again, it's faster to pick up in game time, as far as I can tell. And the interesting thing is, I looked into it for PRKD, picking up Plasma right before Tourian. And I had a hard time making it worth it, even in game time. Because it doesn't save as much time if you do it right before Tourian. Because you don't get the time savings on Ridley. You're going to continually see doors that aren't optimal in these runs. Like at the top of that last room, right before Plasma Beam room. Like, you don't want to enter it exactly that way that I do. There's just so many like examples like that. It's hard for me to catch all of them in a commentary. Kind of was hoping I could catch a lot of these little bitty strats, but there's so much going on, I suppose. Sometimes I like to farm the little clump of blobs coming out of... I don't know if there's any of these runs where I've skipped it, but you want to... In this route, you want to get your power bombs up to a little bit healthier level. The energy's not usually that big of a deal. You can get by on pretty minimal energy here, but... And you can also... I mean, you can also farm the Violas right before going into Lower North Air for power bombs, but it's a little suboptimal, so if I'm close to health bomb or anything like that, I try to get my health up. And the blobs can also drop power bombs, so I tend to farm them to get my power bomb count up, so I don't have to worry about dealing with the Violas. Yeah, this is one of my favorite of your ice strats right here. Freezing this pancake to get up there really fast. I really like that. I'm glad I didn't miss pointing that one out. Some more like frozen pancakes here. I don't know if I hit this blueless in any of my runs. Nope, nope. Hit it in one of them. Come on. Ah! None of them hit it. That's unfortunate. That's a really tough strat, though. It's called blueless because if you just fully speed booster through the room with the roll down gates, you'll kind of fall into the floor where you power bomb out. So you have to let go of dash right before you activate blue, and then arm pump to get into that last gate. And then after you get over those blocks, you can hold dash again. That's where the term blueless comes from. I was surprised I was able to get this consistent enough. This down door, where you like Kago down, or I guess what do you call it? Edge hogging? What the heck is that supposed to be called? Quick drop, I suppose, into the doorway. Like if you're a little bit further to the right, you get a bad door. But I got pretty good at not even getting a bad door. It honestly would work for RTA in a lot of the instances of my runs. I didn't think I was going to be able to get that as consistent as I was able to near the end of this grind. Yeah. And again, the elevator pause does not help you, so there's no sense in doing it here. The down elevator. Alright, again, we're not going to have to worry about lag reduction in Lower North Fair. You're going to see some laggy stuff here. In the old route, RTA, you would want to shoot some of those pirates with a charge shot to reduce lag. And as far as this space jump pillars, it's not quite as fast as Shine Sparking, but it's swag and it saves energy, so this worst room in the game is super laggy, but I love it. Like the lag, once you get used to it, the lag really helps to do those little down grabs. I think that those down grabs would be really hard to do clean at full speed. Sometimes lag can make it really hard to execute things, but if you're just used to it, then sometimes it can make things easier. So yeah, I just set myself to do blue pillars every time because there's no other chance that I'm gonna have to do blue pillars and it to be, arguably optimal. Like the health savings is nice here, but it's just swag, so I had to do it. And I was saving energy here on this these Kagos of the platform, but I decided to go back to just doing the old, taking the 50 damage from the platform itself. You'll see a laggy, like you don't want to shoot a charge shot here because that's really laggy, but it doesn't matter in in-game time. It makes it maybe slightly easier to do the space jumps through there if you got a little lag going on. Part of the, back to the extra missile packs. Having a lot of extra missiles obviously makes Tourian a little bit more lenient to not be locked out from being able to finish it due to missile counts. So it allows me to be more aggressive on Ridley. Beforehand, I would be a little bit... I don't think I would use many supers with 5. I'd be surprised if I use any supers with either of those top 2 fights. Yeah, I don't think I used any. You can see I took myself down to 1 super in the bottom left. I would be really scared to do that if I didn't have 35 max missiles. But it gave me a little bit more confidence to use those supers on Ridley. No, yeah, I mean, like I said, Ove does extra pauses, I think, from getting Ice Beam early. Also, having Spazer is another one that slows down the RTA a lot. You're gonna see the real RTA killer a little bit later. And yeah, the run's just old, so judge Ove based on this run. Not too much different really here. Obviously with Plasma you can afford to be pretty aggressive with your energy coming out of Ridley. You can just hitbox the pirates and get through them. There's a safe way to get through the 3 Musketeers, which is this room in the bottom left. These 3 key hunters are called we call them 3 Musketeers. You can put ice back on like full beam combo and charge shot upwards and kill them pretty quickly. But even that is slower than, even in in-game time with the extra pause. Not counting against you, it's slower to wait and charge shot up, so I decided early on I didn't care to do that unless I needed to. I do like this strat from Ove right here. It's probably a little slower, but obviously you missed the speedball. But like clearing out those Gigas with the beam shot, I really love that strat. So it's a really nice consistency strat. Are you talking about the Three Musketeers strat, low 14s? I can't remember what my best times with the D-boost, the no charge shot strat is. Can't remember them offhand. Wasteland Revisit, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, you're not going to see too much different here. There's going to be some suboptimal doors. Especially the one at the top of this big room, at the bottom left. Normally you'd want to fix this door. I stay to the right of that door personally because it allows you to space jump straight up into that wall jump. You don't have to like move to the right and then neutralize your jump. Anything like that. So I found that pretty comfy, personally. Oh. Yeah, I had a lot of runs during this grind that were very close. The top two runs are very close to getting a 26. They're like 27:02 or something. I don't know for sure because I was playing on an OEM cart, and you just can't tell with OEM cart how close you are. I could tell sort of closely how close I was by. So the top two runs were 42:16s, right? I would do the same route with basically the same strats, and if I didn't have to do any extra pauses or anything like that, then I would let the timer. I would stand on the ship for an extra like 45 seconds, and press down on the ship at like 43:14, and sometimes that would be like a 27. So that tells you that if I was a 42:14, that it would have been a 26. So that's how I kind of know where I was at, how close I was to the 26. But I had a couple other runs that were, like I had a run with the bottom left routing with the extra 2 missiles that was pretty close. I had a few runs that were on really great pace going into Tourian that just lost. I lost them in Tourian. I had so many close runs in this grind, but I thought these were probably the best runs to show off. The 242:16s, the actual 26, and Overfiend's run. Yeah, I mean the bottom left run is really good. It had issues. Obviously, my super missile count is very suspect here, and it messed with me in Metroid rooms, and then you'll see what all went wrong. This was not a great Tourian on the bottom left. I wish it would have been a better Tourian. It would look better to have a clean Tourian in this run. But I can't change it. Like there's not a whole lot of motivation to get a better 26, you know, because this is it. This is the first 26, so you can't really change that. Now here, I was worried about I needed a super from I kept needing a super from every Metroid, and it was sort of sticking in my head that, you know, I might need to do a backup here, and then I just messed up the normal strat, unfortunately. The bottom left run was about a week ago. I think it was last Saturday. The last Metroid rooms kind of clutched out for us, thankfully. You only need 4 supers, I think, with 35 missiles. One thing about having so many missiles you have to be cognizant of is that if you're really far off from having max 35 missiles and your health is low, you have to really worry about the Metroids refilling your health enough, because not all drops are interconnected like this, but the missiles and the energy drops are interconnected. to where if you have full missiles, they turn into energy drops. But if you don't, then you get a bunch of regular missile drops. So if you enter low energy and low missiles, you might just get a bunch of missile drops and not get your energy refilled. So usually that wasn't an issue. Oh yeah, this was pretty bad. The only thing I messed up because I didn't shoot late enough. When you're doing that down back to the Zeb wall, you have to shoot kind of late. And I just shot too early. I was probably nervous. I know I was nervous, and I just shot late or early, and it hit like the Zeb wall or something instead of the Rinka that's spawning at the bottom. Yeah, I was definitely nervous because I knew this was on pace. I knew I had a little bit extra wiggle room to hit the 26 because I was so far ahead at statues. I was definitely nervous. Definitely nervous. Then, of course, the fact that I did lose all that time in Metroid rooms and the Zeb skip made me nervous still for the escape because I knew my escape had to be pretty good. I got lucky here because my last shot happened right before she went into the cutscene right after the last shot. That was very fortunate. If she would have given me a bad ending pattern to that fight, that run very well could not have been a 26. So she can drop a bomb right before. So when you get 16 shots with that beam combo, she starts to be able to do the big rainbow beam, or not rainbow beam, but catch-ups. And after that, after you get to 20 shots, she goes into the cutscene where she does the rainbow beam. But she can drop a bomb like right before catch-up, and she has to wait for that bomb to clear out before she does catch-up. Then you have to wait for catch-up to clear out before she goes into the rainbow beam segment. So all that can like cause a lot of time loss, like maybe 5 to 8 seconds of time loss. Maybe not that much, maybe 5 to 6 at worst. But it's pretty bad. It's an underlooked RNG element of this run. I mean, pretty much any Super Metroid speedrun. But it was very fortunate that she didn't do that to me in this run. Yeah, no, I mean, this is a great run. Clearly not easy to get to 26. It took me like a year. I didn't grind runs all that much until this year, but I had been working on it for quite a while, like getting consistent at all the little different in-game time strats. Yeah, I think a lot of people thought it was going to be easier for me than it was. And I could have gotten it earlier, like those top 2 runs a couple of seconds off, so it could have happened earlier, but yeah. When you change that many strats in a run, it's definitely a lot to get consistent with. So maybe that's part of it. Not really sure. Oh yeah, we're seeing this is the infamous murder beam Mother Brain on O screen. And a callback to when I was talking about Hood Ruby's 32 getting me into this run. Hood Ruby's 32 does this murder beam. Now technically you could say this would be a ban trick because it's a glitched beam. So it's kind of questionable whether it should be allowed in any percent runs. But honestly, I personally approve of it for in-game time runs. It's a legacy strat, like it was done in Hood Ruby's 32. But it destroys your RTA. It's so slow RTA because it lags so much. But it's damaging Mother Brain very slowly over the course of this cutscene. So when you get into Mother Brain 3, she's basically almost dead. Sort of like stand-up glitched where you just need like a couple of shots at the end. I know a stand-up ideally you just need like one shot at the end, but I'm not sure what is ideal with Murder Beam. Thanks for the GGs. Maybe that's another reason to just made the RTA on Ove's Run. That's the biggest reason Ove's Run is 40. What is it? 45? Yeah, 45 instead of lower. But it's also the spazer pickup and extra pauses and stuff like that too. And there's probably like smaller strategic differences. I kind of wish I was more prepared for this commentary, but it took me a while just to get this video together. And I did. I mean, I did watch Ove's Run a couple of times before doing this, but it's hard to be completely prepared for everything I wanted to talk about in this run. But hopefully, I covered it fairly well. Yeah, it was a nail biter even for that 26. I wasn't sure if that was gonna be the 26. I think Drewski said something in all caps like, "You just had to make it close, didn't you?" Had to make it suspenseful at the end, whether the 26 was gonna pop up or it was gonna be another 27. Yo, Mother Brain, quick charge, let's go. Yeah, 2 more missile packs in the 26. That's why the RTA is at 42.25 instead of a 42.16 quicker in-game time. Pretty much the only reason. So the extra missile pickups are 6 and 2/3 seconds. RTA extra. So that's what 13 and 1/3 seconds. Quicker or slower RTA. The same in-game time. So what it'd be the equivalent of like 42.12 or 42.11 is my other routing. But I mean, it's not exactly accurate because I would not have been able to do that fan tune pattern the way I did without that extra missile pack. So not a 1-by-1 comparison, but yeah. I thought this would be a good way to show. I mean, it's a good illustration of the differences of in-game time. The fact that your run is still a 27, and that my 26 is slower RTA but quicker in-game time. It really illustrates the point of the differences between IGT and RTA. And if somebody else picks this up to get a 27 or 26 or 28 or whatever you want to do, like whatever breakpoint you want to pick up or achieve. I would encourage you to route it however you feel like it's best or comfortable for you. I feel like there's some custom ability to this run where you can kind of choose how you want to route it. And again, hybrid route and old route are pretty similar to speed and in-game time as far as I can tell. So you kind of have both those options at your disposal. So yeah, I hope to see other people pick this up. I mean, I guess there's not as much motivation now that 26 is achieved, but I would love to watch more. I think this was a really fun run personally, so I recommend it. And thanks for watching.